hi, hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yoda, everybody.
We have returned.
We been here.
We are back for our biannual video.
Biannual is generous.
We are back for our semi-annual video.
We're back for our fucking once every decade video. But even then, that'd be setting ourselves like a standard, and we don't do that here. So
Yeah, we can't have schedules.
no schedules allowed. Oh man, how you doing? How we been? How's it going?
Constantly tired.
Constantly in pain. That's why I'm home. Ooh, click.
Let's go!
Let's go. Wow, what are we doing? What's our job right now?
Doing a thing.
Am I being paid?
No.
Oh, why?
We may never be paid.
Money.
Money is good.
That's it. That's all.
Speaking of money, if you go over to patreon.com,
No.
you can give one of us money.
But mostly me.
I don't have a Patreon.
I have a Patreon, but that's not for children. Anyway.
Children, go there.
No! Don't. I will probably be sued by your mom. Or moms, not judging.
Yes, and then we countersue because they let their children go there in the first place.
Like fucking intelligent people.
You clearly state it's not good for the youngins on the Patreon.
I mean, like, take one look at the Patreon, you'd fucking know.
Exactly.
Like, you'd go on there and like, you're like, oh, I wonder what the tags are on this this Patreon, and half of them are lewd and NSFW. All 19 of them are girls. But to
Very
be fair,
cool.
I have an only male clientele. I don't think they want to see naked dudes. So... Unless, do you want to see naked dudes, Dylan?
I don't know about that one.
Oof, okay. Shut up, kids!
Children, cease! I will end your petty existence.
Oh, do they want to die?
Seems like it. I'm gonna slap the roof.
Slap them. Not the roof, the children.
Both. They're still doing it. I'm gonna slap the roof. A child decided that if he places a cardboard box as a barrier, he can throw shit at the floor and it would make no noise.
And he didn't hear it make noise and go, wow, that still makes noise.
I went up there, I said, hey, that's loud downstairs, it's loud in my room, stop it, I'm recording. And he's like, I'm doing it on a box.
Just play video
Yeah,
games like a normal fucking child, please.
Stop throwing water bottles at your Connect 4 box, please.
So, we just watched An American Crime, directed by Tommy O'Hara and starring Elliot Page, Catherine Keener, Hayley McFarland, Ari Grainer, and James Franco. It's pretty neat. I liked this movie quite a bit. It's very dark.
Yes.
It's very, distressing. There has already been a content warning, and if there hasn't, now Jax, who is editing this, which is why the editing sucks in this video, by the way.
I'm sure it'll be amazing.
Pre-warning. I have no idea how to edit videos. Well, I can do the audio. You know, that's easy. That's my thing. Like, audio editing, mwah, beautiful, easy, brilliant. Video editing, no. But now Ace, who can't edit, knows to add a content warning to the start of the video. Look at her go. Look, see? There she is. She's doing it.
Wow.
I have to edit that in. Go.
Look at that. She's waving to the people. Hello, Jax.
Don't make me do that.
This right now.
Don't make me do that.
Too late. It's already done.
That's too hard. I've never edited that before. It's a really dark movie, and it's based on a real story, which I think is, and like, not loosely based, like heavily based on a very, very real event, which makes it only a little bit more fucked up, I think. It was already pretty fucked up, and they said, oh, it's based on a true story, and you go, oh.
I think it was pretty good. It was nice and simple. It's not some what did we watch last time? Memento, where the storyline is going in 15 directions at once. It's nice and short, sweet, and to the point. Child is left with some people, she dies, the end.
It's actually just 10 seconds long, and 5 of those seconds is credits.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's move on to phase 1. It's where we discuss what we liked, ranging from quotes to specific parts of the film to specific shots, acting, and so on. Essentially, what did we like? I'll start. I think Elliot Page is an amazing actor, and I think he always has been for a very long time, including, as we can see, as a fucking child. That's some talent. I think he started acting at like 11, like on screen. How?
Wow.
How'd you do that, Elliot? With
Got
your
them
abs?
skills.
He's got abs now. He's got no
Wow.
biceps or triceps, but he's got abs. So my man only does sit-ups.
Look out, Zac Efron or something. You got competition now.
You got competition, Zach. Watch out, Dwayne Johnson. Watch out, Dwayne the Stone Johnson. You can't
Get
be
out
called
of
the
here,
Rock
Dwayne
anymore.
the Pebble Johnson.
Yeah, you're just a pebble. Because Elliot Page rocks.
Because you know what? Paper beats rock. Elliot Page wins. I'm a fucking genius. Took 1,000 IQ to come up with that one.
Oh my god.
We went from praising Elliot Page for being awesome to your life is a game of rock, paper, scissors, you peasant.
No, I actually really liked how, in comparison to other movies, it is very tried and true to the source material. Like, again, compared to other movies, of course it can't be perfect, it's a movie. They have to make it a movie, they have to make it interesting one way or another. Everything's not going to be accurate. But I like that, you know, we kind of actually got a slice of what actually happened rather than some stupid extreme dramatization of what actually happened. Kind of just the way the family is very reminiscent of how my family is, or was, I should say, growing up. And so it made it a little more realistic to me. Like, the actors really put on a good show of this dysfunctional fucking family. Absolute train wreck of a family. And I have to say, it was heartbreaking, which was a good thing, because obviously we needed to feel for Sylvia Likens, the main character, also known as a very real person who died. You kind of to feel the hopelessness that she was feeling and the trauma she went through before you get that hope at the end of, oh my god, Sylvia finally escaped, that's great, and then we realized, oh, she died. And this is like, I guess, a spiritual, out-of-body experience situation, not the family has come to save the day sort of situation.
It's pretty good. It's nice and, like I said before, nice and simple. Not some convoluted garbage that makes me stay awake at night contemplating my entire existence for hours. They definitely chose a very good actor to play Sylvia. Like, even actually looks pretty similar.
Yeah, right?
I think they couldn't have chosen a better person to play the role.
Yeah. Like, Elliot as a little child looks very similar to Sylvia Likens, which is actually really almost like uncanny.
I do like that they kept it, as accurate as they could. They can't get everything, but they did what they could.
Yeah. What did you think of Catherine Keener's performance as Gertrude?
I did hate her the whole time. So, I think that means it was pretty good.
I think they really showed the kind of, I don't know if Gertrude had like a schizoactive disorder or some kind of bipolar or other, like, well, she had to have something, surely. She did have some kind of mental illness, probably pertaining to stress or like symptoms of a disorder, not necessarily having one, but she definitely had some that kind of gave me BPD vibes. Borderline personality disorder, that is. She definitely seemed a little sociopathic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, even the way she treats her own children, it's all about control and about changing the narrative to fit her own. So even when Paula stood up to her mother in the end, or even, like, as she was saying, hey, it's kind of going too far, Gertrude didn't want to be shown up by her daughter, and so she goes, no, this is, you owe her a punishment, and so it becomes this whole issue. I think Catherine's performance was really good. I think she actually got nominated or won an award for it. Or because of the performance, it was like nominated for a Golden Globe or something. I'm sure that's probably in the script somewhere, so you'll probably read that at some point, or I will. I think Catherine's performance was amazing as like a deadbeat mother who has been forced to kind of raise all these children by herself, trying to have a relationship with a man, but it not really working out in her favor, and having control issues, and you know, she is a substance abuser with alcohol and tobacco, and she exhibits the control not only over her own children but obviously over Sylvia and her little sister, just so that she can kind of have it. Even neighborhood children, where she will tell them what to do, like telling Ricky to carve in onto Sylvia's chest or onto her stomach or whatever, like, I'm a prostitute and proud of it or something, even though he said he didn't want to. I thought that was really telling of the character we were watching, and I think her performance was probably the best out of all of them.
It's not like they could have done it any other way, but it is nifty and good to have movies out there that, you know, they'll show not every ending is happy. Sometimes you just get beaten and fucking die.
I'd argue that no ending is happy. At the end, you still die.
True. People would have hated it if they like changed it for the Hollywood peoples or whatever, made it some
it would have been
Disney
so
happy ending.
There are so many, like even some Disney movies that are based on real events, like Pocahontas. People are fucking livid at them like every 5 years because they go, "That's not how that fucking ended." You know, Tommy O'Hara, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, show
It's
what
good
actually
to see
happened.
they kept it real.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to phase 2. Obviously, what we didn't like about the film, general criticism, and etc.
I don't really have anything I disliked about it. It was very well done. I mean, if disliking it counts as I dislike the people that were being big ol' meanies in it, because they sucked. I hate them all.
I do have to say,
Especially fucking Gertrude.
oh yeah, fuck Gertrude. I do have to say, because it's a movie, I don't dislike it, but it was kind of a gutting feeling finding out that there's no happy ending. Because I hadn't read what actually happened. I was really honestly hoping that Sylvia would make it out, and then she didn't.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, oh. It's one of those movies you watch just to feel hopeless for a while, and then you go, huh.
Definitely unfortunate, but I mean,
I feel like
that's how
they
it
could have
was.
gone into a little more detail about how they treated the sister. Because she went
Oh,
through
yeah.
a shitload as well. But they were more focused because obviously Sylvia was the one who died, so she was the main character and the only one. Like, we saw a little bit of what happened to her sister, but we mostly see what happened to Sylvia. And I think it almost downplayed how bad Gertrude actually was. So, like, yes, while Gertrude obviously tortured and wound up killing this innocent young girl, she also didn't seem as bad as she actually was in real life. Because of how she treated a disabled little girl, you know, who could hardly walk, definitely couldn't defend herself. How she threatened the kids if they even tried to contact their parents, you know. Some stuff was so, like, the scene was short enough that you didn't really have time for it to set in. It was moved on to the next scene, which was a little frustrating because, you know, like I said, it kind of dumbs down what Gertrude was really like and what she actually did.
From what I remember, her sister was just mostly kind of vibing. Like, she wasn't, you know, quote unquote punished that much.
No, more she just
in
watched her sister
comparison.
get punished a bunch.
Yeah.
Whereas I think in The Girl Next Door they showed that a little bit more, but they also showed what happened to Sylvia a lot less. So it was just like, you know, it's just a little... I think it's one of the few cases where maybe things were a little under-dramatized.
Yeah.
So when it comes from a realistic point of view, yeah, obviously we wouldn't see everything that happened to the kids, but at the end of the day we know everything that happened to the kids because it's all stated in court documents, right? From a moviegoer's perspective, you know, you want to kind of hype up how bad Gertrude actually is. And so, kind of lowering the amount of stuff we see kind of is not contributory to the end result. The desired end result is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, when you make a movie about a an actual crime that happened. You don't want people to walk away from it being like, oh, at least she wasn't this bad or anything.
Yeah, at least she mostly left the disabled girl alone, because that's not true at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, honestly, it was fantastic. I loved the camera work, I loved the lighting, I loved how they, made it look like it was from the time, 1960s. It was premiered in like 2007 or something, and so being able to go back, kind of capture the essence of 1965 or whenever it was, like the mid to early 1960s, is really nice. So I mean, I don't know, there's not much I don't like. Just show how much of a shithole person Gertrude actually is. Catherine Keener's lovely. We love Catherine, unless she did something bad and I don't know, in which case fuck Catherine. I don't know, Catherine's
Remember
great.
everyone, we stan everyone involved in these movies unless they did something bad. If they
Like
did
James
something bad, hate them.
Fuck James Franco, I think.
Yes.
Probably.
I don't know. I've heard the name, but I don't know who that is or what they've done. But
you know the meme where the
them.
guy is standing there on the gallows with a noose around his neck and he looks at the camera and says first time? That's James Franco. Yeah.
What did he do?
Well, you'll see. Well, I guess that means it's time to go on to phase 4, which is our research thingy. And then we will go into phase 5, which is what we think the film is trying to express, and then we will do our outro, because I'm tired of saying the words phase and numbers. So,
wow.
Go ahead, Dill, take it away.
An American Crime, directed by Tommy O'Haver and starring Elliot Page, Catherine Keener, Haley McFarland, Ari Grainer, and James Franco. Still don't know what he did, but he, I guess, did something. I spit upon his name. It revolves around the true story of Sylvia Likens' torture and murder back in 1965. The film premiered in the 2007 Sundance Festival, and due to internal issues with the original distributor, First Look International, it wasn't released in theaters. It was officially premiered by the Showtime television network on the 10th of May 2008. Because of Keener's performance, it was nominated for a Golden Globe and a Primetime Emmy, and because of the writing, was nominated for a Writers Guild of America award. Here's an image of the full cast. Wow, people.
Wow.
They do things.
Look at all them. That's incredible.
Look at that guy. He looks kind of weird.
Oh. The plot of the film is as follows. In 1965, Sylvia Likens and her younger sister Jenny, both 16 and 15 years old respectively, are left with a woman who lives in poverty, Gertrude Banaszowski, and her children. Their parents, Lester and Betty, work in the carnival circuit and leave on a tour. Gertrude agrees to take care of Sylvia and Jenny for $20 per week. Lester's payment is late to arrive, and, infuriated, Gertrude whips the sisters with her belt. When the payment eventually arrives along with a letter from the parents, Gertrude throws out the letter without telling the sisters at all. After Sylvia tells Paula's boyfriend about Paula's pregnancy, Gertrude forces Sylvia to apologize for, quote, lying and spreading false rumors, and gets Johnny and Paula to beat Sylvia until she complies. Jenny finds the letter from their parents in the bin. Sylvia calls them, but is seen by Gertrude's children. Gertrude accuses them of stealing money from her to make the call, and burns Sylvia's hand with a cigarette. She also accuses Sylvia of flirting with Andy, the dad of one of Gertrude's sons, abuses Sylvia sexually, and orders Johnny and Stephanie's boyfriend, Coy Hubbard, to shove her down the stairs into the basement. As Jenny cries, Gertrude says Sylvia will stay there until she learns her lesson. Gertrude tells her children to lie and say Sylvia was sent to juvenile detention. With Gertrude's permission, Johnny repeatedly invites the neighborhood kids and teenagers to the basement to abuse Sylvia in a multitude of ways. Paula soon feels bad for Sylvia and tells her mother that she's been punished enough. Gertrude ignores her, reminding her that there is blood on her hands as well. The Reverend arrives, hinting that Paula has confessed about her pregnancy and Sylvia's torture and abuse. Gertrude lies to him, saying Sylvia was sent away. Once the Reverend leaves, Gertrude orders everyone down to the basement, where she restrains Sylvia and begins branding the words "I'm a prostitute and proud of it" on her stomach with a hot needle. Gertrude gives the needle to her teen neighbor Ricky Hobbs, a boy who had been interested in Sylvia, to finish the branding. That night, Paula tries to help Sylvia escape from the basement, as Sylvia is completely unable to walk by herself. Gertrude is awakened by another daughter and attempts to catch Sylvia, but is stopped by Paula. Ricky drives Sylvia to her parents, who are mortified by Sylvia's condition, and drive her back to the Banaszewski residence at her request to ensure Jenny's safety. When Sylvia enters, she sees a distraught Stephanie trying to revive Sylvia herself with Ricky's help, but to no avail, indicating that the entire escape and reunion with her parents had been a hallucination, or she is seeing things from the perspective of the dead. Sylvia soon dies in the arms of Stephanie and Ricky, and Gertrude denies being part of the homicide at all. Once the police arrive, Jenny agrees to testify in court in exchange for her freedom. At the trial, Jenny says Gertrude threatened her with the same treatment if she told anyone. Gertrude denies all wrongdoing and tries to frame her children and their friends for Sylvia's death instead. However, her attempts to frame all her witnesses over the case backfire as she is sentenced to life in prison for first-degree murder. Sylvia's voice narrates the fates of her other murderers. In her prison cell, Gertrude briefly sees Sylvia's ghost, and that's the end of the movie. I didn't mess up even one time.
Yes.
I did so
Very
not.
eloquent.
Look, I read it perfectly.
Yes.
No mistakes. Not even one mistakes. Anyway.
We gonna be talking about people now. Elliot Page was born on the 21st of February 1987 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, to parents Martha Philpotts and Dennis Page. Before transitioning, he originally identified as female and bisexual, but later came out as a trans man, hence why we had to delete the audio for Hard Candy, though we will return to that episode soon enough. He first acted on camera in 1997 at the age of 10, starring as Maggie McLean in the movie Pit Pony, and quickly moved up the ranks in the world of acting. Here's the filmography. Look at that. That's a lot of movies. I bet I've seen that one. That's a good movie right there. I love it. You're gonna put in fucking 15 cowboys at Ram Ranch or something there, man. I already know it. From Wikipedia, for his performance in Juno of 2007. That's a cool movie. Look at that. I've never seen it, but I bet it's cool. Page received several awards and nominations in Best Breakthrough Performance and Best Actress categories, winning 3 Teen Choice Awards, a Canadian Comedy Award, and a Satellite Award. They keep those ones in space. As well as nominations for 2 British Academy Film Awards. They call those BAFTAs.
Mm-hmm.
An Academy Award and a Golden Globe Award. You got the Oscar Man. You got the little Naked Man trophy. Those are pretty.
Take me by the hand.
His roles in the drama films The Tracy Fragments and Freeheld, the sci-fi film Inception. We back at that one. I think we talked about that one a little bit in the last video.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, that's a relevant movie from 11 years ago.
Has it already been 11 years?
2010, it's already been 11 years. That's crazy.
Yes, crazy, man.
I miss 2012. That was a cool year. It had the Gangnam style and such.
That's exactly what I was thinking. The Gangnam style.
So yeah, all that and the superhero works X-Men Days of Future Past and the Umbrella Academy earned him numerous accolades. I could read.
Accolades.
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 Hang on, is it actually accolades? You got me thinking I read it wrong.
I think it's accolades. I don't know. Who cares?
Whatever that word is.
Accolade.
Page hosted the television documentary series Gaycation. Very cool. Alongside Ian Daniel, which earned him 2 Primetime Emmy Award nominations. He additionally served as a voice actor in the video game Beyond Two Souls in 2013, garnering 3 award nominations.
Damn.
And that's Elliot Page. That's a lot. That's a good career.
That is a good career, and he's still so young.
Yeah. Let's move on to James Edward Franco. He was born on the 19th of April in 1978 in Palo Alto, California, to parents Betsy Lou and Douglas Eugene Franco. His brothers Tom and Dave Franco, as well as his mother, were all involved in acting as well, and his mother and paternal grandmother are also authors. He was a bit of a petty criminal in his early days. I mean, who isn't? I like to start a fire once in a while in the streets, light a bin on fire, roll it down the highway. He was being arrested for little things like theft and reselling things from stores to his classmates with a group of his friends, graffiti, and underage drinking. It got to a point where he was briefly considered a ward of the state and was facing juvenile detention. Lucky for him, he got a second chance, tried his go at university, dropped out and started training as an actor. His parents wouldn't support him, so he started working at the local McDonald's to earn some money. That's the way to go. McDonald's! He went to the McDonald's and became Satan.
Rather than Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, fuck Kentucky Fried Chicken. No one likes them. They got weird short man working there.
They got that blue-haired motherfucker.
He would practice accents on his customers and obviously made it through sheer force of will. Good for him. However, I feel bad for the customers because they probably knew that he was putting on an accent.
Oh, God, surely, right?
Like if he, especially if he's like changing it with each customer in line. Next guy walks up, he's like, "Hey, weren't you just French? Why are you Mexican now?" Anyway, here's his filmography. He did that movie, and that one. I don't like that one. That one's garbage. What's really interesting about Franco, though, our buddy boy Jamesy here, is the sheer number of sexual misconduct allegations against him. Look at all this. That's a lot of words, man.
Seriously.
He's done a lot of things.
He dated an underage girl. Well, technically she wasn't underage, she was age of consent, but there was like a 20-something year age gap. And he tweeted something out like, "I hope parents keep their teens away from me, thank you."
Some people just really need to realize, just because technically age of consent is under 18, it's still entirely, at least like socially unacceptable pretty much everywhere.
It is at the very least extremely inappropriate.
Yeah, at the very least in like North America, that is, everyone's gonna hate you. So just because it's technically legal doesn't mean you're in the clear.
Yeah. Like, legally, I could marry a 96-year-old man so that when he dies in 5 years, he'll give me all of his money. But that doesn't make it socially acceptable or okay as a thing to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's 17. People's brains aren't fully developed until they're in their 20s, usually around 25.
Yeah.
Like, she can't drink yet, bro. What makes you think you can have sex with a 17-year-old girl? If her age is on a 24-hour clock, she's not ready for the cock. Okay, 25 and over is acceptable, okay? Why are these men out here like, "Oh, I'm almost 40 years old, you know what, I really want to fuck a pretty much child." Yum, yes please, let's go.
Yeah, because people are just going to be like, "Oh yeah, that's legal, it's fine, whatever, let him do his thing."
There are places where that is considered okay, but their ages of consent is like 8, so...
Even if you're like, the gap is like 25 years, you're like 25 and 50... people are still going to see that as pretty weird too. Even though, you know, you're 25, you can make your own decisions and whatever. Having a big gap in general, people are going to find that weird.
Yeah, because it is weird, you know?
Yeah.
There are times where I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, because you guys, like, knew each other for a really long time and you became interested in each other. That's a whole thing, right? But you can so tell when someone is in it for money or just because they are a creep. It is the most obvious thing. Like, oh yeah, you're dating this 30-year-old woman when you're 65, but she looks 12. I wonder why you could possibly be doing that. Like, and I'm not talking about short chicks. I'm not talking about short chicks or petite chicks. I'm talking about the chicks who, like, never had a facial grow up.
The short people argument, I don't understand.
If she's under 5'6", she's child coded. It's like, bro, 5'5" is over like average height in my country. What do you mean?
She's relatively short, so she's child coded. Okay, does that mean she's not allowed to be with anyone ever?
Right? Even
What
young
what are
looking
y'all trying
women,
to
like,
do?
sure, obviously, like, no one's saying you can't be with someone, but it is kind of telling when someone twice or
Mhm.
3 times your age are with you when you look like a child. I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah. Age gap is understandable. Height gap is dumb.
Yeah.
Just because you're short doesn't mean you like look like a child or something.
No. And even if you do, I mean, that's quite common in Asian countries and things, and I can understand the disdain they have for white people telling them that they're child coded. So
Hey, fuck you, man. I'm not a child. Get out of here. Go back to your hot dogs and
they're
cowboy
like,
hats.
I'm going to look 15 until I am 50. Like, leave me alone.
Let me look childish. Go eat a burger.
Fucking fat ass.
Anyway, here's his awards. Has he had those confiscated yet? Someone's gonna confiscate them.
He's
Or
just
he'll
standing
just
on the
pawn them or
gallows
something.
first time.
He's gonna, like, his career's gonna go down the tube and he's just gonna pawn off his awards or something and get $15 out of them. There are several other actors who starred in the film, such as Catherine Keener, did very good here. Haley McFarland and Ari Grainer, but we don't exactly have time to go through everyone here. So we're just gonna put up their early life filmography awards and what have you on screen here. Like, there we go. There's one. Haley. There we go. Now you can see her things. That's all their stuff. If you want, you can pause and read it and whatever. We just don't have time for all that, though.
Yeah, like, we're already 51 minutes into recording. Now, because this film is based very heavily on very, very real events, instead of giving a theory bit here like we usually would, we're going to summarize the actual case. I don't know how anyone else feels, but to me personally, it seems, I guess, kind of, quote, harmful to be talking about theories of an already very long closed case or on a movie based on real events. It kind of comes off as questioning what happened to a brutally tortured young girl, and I'd rather just not do something like that. It just doesn't sit right with me. I find it better to just discuss the case as given to us rather than try to theorize on it, if that makes sense. I'd also like to give a second content warning, as there is some pretty nasty stuff involved. On October 26, 1965, Indianapolis police were called to the Benazowskis' home, where they found the body of 16-year-old Sylvia Likens with a total of 140 wounds on her body. In July of 1965, Sylvia and her sister Jenny were left in the care of Gertrude Benazowski by their parents, as they were frequently separated for long periods of time due to frequent job problems and their mother getting into legal trouble. While living with the Benazowskis, Sylvia was beaten and tortured for over 3 weeks by upwards of 10 people, several of whom were Gertrude's own children and neighbouring children. When Sylvia was found, her body was covered with scars, deep cuts, dark puncture wounds, burns, and the like. Half of her face was discoloured due to loss of skin, and she had the phrase "I'm a prostitute and proud of it" carved onto her body by Richard Hobbs, who stated to have also hit her 4 or 5 times during the ordeal whenever she flinched away from the hot sewing needle. When questioned, Gertrude claimed that Sylvia had been spreading rumours that 2 of her children, Paula and Stephanie Benazowski, were prostitutes. Gertrude was put on trial in April of 1966, along with 2 of her children, Paula and John Benazowski, and 2 neighbouring children, Richard Hobbs and Coy Hubbard, where she pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. All 4 children also pleaded not guilty. In the end, Gertrude Benazowski was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. She was released, however, on parole in 1985 and died of lung cancer 5 years later in 1990. Paula was found guilty of second-degree murder and was released in 1972. John was found guilty of manslaughter along with the 2 neighbouring children and served less than 2 years in the Indiana Reformatory and were granted parole in February of 1968.
Just a side note, Paula wasn't even in prison for some of that time, because if I'm getting the correct person at least, she was pregnant and had to go have a baby somewhere first before being in prison. So take that, Gertrude. Sylvia was right.
Yeah, right. So obviously, it is just kind of telling the tale of Sylvia Likens. It is a very unfortunate story, and very unfortunately true. It is a real shame how easy it is, to me, in my opinion, for people convicted of first-degree murder to get out on parole. Like you're sentenced to life in prison, but 14 years later, if you've been really good, you can be let out so that you can murder people again.
Yeah, the prison thing is annoying. It's like, oh, Gertrude here. Oh, she's such a sweetheart. We can let her out. She wouldn't hurt a fly, even though she murdered that child.
Yeah, right. Even though
She's
not even just murder.
cured.
How do you be convicted only of first-degree murder? You tortured her. Like, there should be like several sentences of life, not just the one.
Yeah.
You know, it's spending 2 years in the Indiana reformatory. Like, 2 years, yeah, that's long enough to reform kids who, over the course of 3 weeks, tortured, beat, starved, sexually assaulted, and murdered Sylvia Likens. Yeah, that's long enough. Makes sense to me. What I don't like about the movie, the fact that it's based on real events.
I dislike the real events that took place that ended up creating this movie.
Yes, I dislike them too. Hey, you know what? That was a fun episode though. I'm glad we've done it.
Yeah.
It's been cool. It's been a good time. Other than the depression.
Oh.
In summary, you know, fuck Gertrude, fuck James. James is ugly. Well, no, that's not true. But he's dumb and mean and sex pissed.
James is a very stinky boy and he needs to go hang out with Gertrude for a while.
Hey, thank you all for coming in and taking the time to watch our episode of SWJW. Hopefully this comes out in less than 4 months.
Yes, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Probably. Of course, if you want to leave any suggestions for films that we should watch in the future and review and talk about, whether it be for the Contrapocalypse thing that I still need to get onto, because it's controversial, whether it's recent or not, or say some anime of some sorts for tier listing for Dylan's show that he's supposed to do, or just regular movies that maybe have super, like, heaps of theories around it, or you know, stuff like that, or even just things you find interesting. Let us know in the comments so that we can give them a watch and see what we think. And with that being said, thank you all for the patience and support, and goodbye.
So long, everybody. We will be back next decade.
Next millennium. Zoom. You're gonna have to teach me how to edit the outro.
Don't worry, I will try.
Zooming in my platypus bus. Bye bye.
So long. I'm going to space in Jeff Bezos's Pebis rocket.